Good afternoon, everybody. It's March 21, 2025. And yes, we are in the bewitching hour for the witches. Yeah, they like yesterday, today, when the sun goes into Aries, zero Aries, the equinox, the spring equinox. The witches are very active, very, very active. But anyway, I have some really interesting news for you. My favorite beer of instigation. This is exclusive on Reuters.com. The FBI scales back staffing. Tracking of domestic terrorism probes, the sources say. FBI leadership recently transferred agents and intelligence analysts from its domestic T operations section, which supports investigations run over the FBI's 55 field offices and provides information on domestic threats. Like you and I, like this cat here for speaking the truth. This is a threat. If you're a truth teller, forget about it. You're going to be on the list. According to 5 sources briefed on the moves, 2 sources familiar with the changes said that about 16 people had been reassigned from the section, which would have hundreds of employees if fully staffed. A different source said that senior FBI officials have discussed disbanding it entirely, though a final decision has not been announced yet. Now, I have a lot of news for you. I'm going to be switching back and forth. One second here. I have a patent. I'm going to be jumping around here. So I've got a patent that I need to show you. And thank you, Gabriel, for sending me this patent. And what he does is, Gabriel is bilingual, Spanish-English. So he joins a lot of Spanish organizations and chat groups and stuff. So he was asking questions about gang stalking and stuff. Are there any patents out there to protect targeted individuals from V2K? And guess what? U.S. Patent Application Publication, September 3rd, 2020. The applicant was Da Li, L-I, in West Covina, California. The application number is 16/558,040. It was filed August 31, 2019. And listen to the name of the patent. Methods and automatic system to identify who are victims of abuse, voice-to-skull, and remote neural monitoring technology, and to identify who is the remote attacker or operator using device of voice-to-skull and remote neural monitoring. The abstract is, this is a method to identify victims of abuse and the remote operator using voice-to-skull and remote neural monitoring, comprising the steps of using a database in a computer consisting of one or more of disgusting items, funny items, and political trends, anti-religious belief items, countries and racial items, foreign clubs or organizational items, languages and dialect items, and scientific knowledge items. Tested person selecting one item which only causes the remote operator to have a psychological response and does not cause the tested person to have a psychological response. Instructing the tested person to launch imaginary psychological attack, assigning test questions based on the imaginary psychological attack and obtaining answers from the tested person in response to the tested questions, then using a polygraph meter to analyze the answers and assigning true or false status to the answers. This is communication satellite with GPS. So basically what the abstract is saying is that he designed this patent in 2020 to identify who the victims of abuse and remote neural monitoring are and who their operators are. Who are the operators using voice-to-skull and remote neural monitoring who use these steps in a database to elicit a psychological response when they are questioned about imaginary psychological attacks to obtain answers from the person. This is like injecting psychological responses to fake questions that they have installed in the person. Okay, and I'm going to show you what it looks like here, okay? Now let me scroll down a little bit so you can see the diagram here. Okay. So actually this is a 42-page document. Obviously, I'm not going to read it all, can't show it all to you, but I have it. It's downloaded. You could look up this patent with this information. You can also email me for a copy of the patents. He also gave me another U.S. patent, system and method for identifying members of a gang or security threat group. Now, I already looked up this Securus Technologies Inc. in Dallas, Texas. And basically what they did is designed software for prisons across the country. So this is a system and method for identifying members of a gang or security threat group. However, just because it was basically utilized in the prison systems does not mean that it can't be utilized somewhere else. And let me show you what it looks like. So now I looked up this company here. Oh, believe it or not, you want to know something? They actually have an office in Kentucky. Yeah, and they have assigned their software to dozens of prisons across the country. And this is the group here, the inventors. If anybody wants to contact them to see how this system and method of identifying members of a gang or security threat group, how this software may have gotten into the wrong hands, and perhaps who other than the prison system have they sold this technology to. Okay, so that's number 2. Let me get out of this document now. And now we've got, let's see, okay, now this is interesting here. Let me find it. Now, are you familiar with the actor Gene Hackman? He's been around for a while.
If you're a senior between the ages of 50 and 85, I have some important news.
Let me skip this ad.
The truth never reaches the public. Then there's the media. While major news outlets have remained relatively quiet about the case, independent journalists, conspiracy theorists, and researchers are digging into Hackman's final years, hoping to uncover the missing pieces. There have already been whispers of anonymous sources claiming to have seen the contents of some of the files. If those sources are legitimate, it could only be a matter of time before the real story comes out.
Okay, now I'm just going to fast forward here. Gene Hackman had a very prolific acting career, and he and his wife had been together for many years. I believe he was in his 90s when he died, and he died in very bizarre circumstances. Very bizarre. It wasn't, he didn't unalive himself, but people had said that he was usually very visible that he was very active, but like in the last couple of years, he became very inactive, and people actually weren't seeing him coming out of his house. So it turns out that he passes away, and his wife, who are separated. They find the wife in one place, the husband in another place. Very bizarre. And they had 2 dogs, 2 German shepherds. And then what they discovered is that his body temperature and his I guess somebody was monitoring his internal workings, or whatever it is that they were monitoring, that in his last hour or so, his last couple of hours, his body temperature rose, his heart rate rose, and he was in a state of frenzy and terror. And then, evidently, he had been collecting a lot of secrets of the industry. He has seen a lot. He's in his 90s. He backed out. He hasn't, created film in a while. But he kept something in his attic about all this stuff that he'd collected over the years. And evidently, he was being surveilled for a while, for a long time, which is one of the reasons why he wasn't coming out of his house. But in my opinion, and if you want to look it up, you can, towards the end, after he passed away, it was all deemed suspicious. At first, they thought he unalived himself, but now it's suspicious. They don't know how he died, but I'm going to say that he was probably bombarded with pulsed microwave radiation directed energy weapons. And my favorite beer of instigation went into the attic, and they said what the FBI found in Gene Hackman's attic shocks the whole world. But meanwhile, they're not disclosing what it is that they found. That some of it was so horrific, like even the people reviewing it were repulsed, that they have to stop looking at it. Evidently, when you're in this industry and you're invited to parties and you hear things from other people, and maybe he was a trusted person in the industry. Maybe his friends entrusted him with information they collected in case something happened to them. You know how that works in the targeting community, right? So he had all this information up in his attic. And my favorite bureau, they won't let us know what it is. It's sort of like the Epstein files, They don't want us to know who it is. So anyway, I encourage you to perform your own research about what was found in Gene Hackman's attic by my favorite Bureau of Instigation. Let me see what else here. There was something else. Oh, yes, here. This. Now, this is 9 years old. I just got a low battery. Let me just plug this in. So this is 9 years old. CBS News. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. But they arrested 3 members of the quote-unquote Masonic police force. They were arrested. Now you have to listen to this. These 3 people, and likely more, set up their own fake police force. They dressed in police uniforms. And wait till you hear about this. Let me just increase the volume here.
Suspects in California are accused of running a fake police department and put under arrest. One of the suspects even works for California Attorney General Kamala Harris. I'm 48 Hours Crime-Sider's Michelle Sagona. The ruse began...
Did you hear that? One of them even works for Kamala Harris. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Wow, what a scandal this is.
And in January, when the San Diego Sheriff's Office says various police chiefs in Southern California began to receive letters from the Masonic Fraternal Police Department. The letter said specifically that David Henry was now the chief and he was requesting a meeting with each agency. According to a press release, Captain Roosevelt Johnson of the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Office actually accepted a meeting with Henry, Tonette Hayes, and Brandon Keel. They showed up dressed in uniforms and said they were setting up shop in the area.
Did you hear that? This is how it works for you and I sometimes. These fake police wearing uniforms set up shop, quote unquote. They set up shop in some area. They pretend to be coppers, but they're not. Instead, they're members of the Masonic police, their own fake police department. I guarantee there's one around here. Oh, no. The one around here is called the Hillbilly Mafia. I forgot. Forgive me.
All three were arrested and now charged with impersonating a peace officer. The group claims to have jurisdiction in 33 states.
Okay. They claim to have jurisdiction in 33 states. States. Not towns. States. 33 states.
And in Mexico. They allegedly believe they're descendants of the Knights Templar and that their group was founded 3,000 years ago. But medieval scholars say their claims are incorrect and that the Knights Templar was founded during the 12th century Crusades in Jerusalem.
See, these stupid fake police, they don't even know the history. They're impersonating police officers claiming to be Masons, the Knights of Templar, and they don't even know the history.
Their mission was to protect pilgrims visiting the Holy City, and they answered to the Pope. Some historians speculate that they were tasked with finding precious religious relics during the wars. The legend of the Knights has been featured in...
Sorry about that. So anyway, I just wanted to give you the heads up that they're members of the Masonic police. They set up fake groups in the area. So now I'm going to take you one last place here. Let me just find the civil rights lawyer, because he has a video, and let me just show it to you. The most recent video is of, this is the title, okay? This is the title of the video. The title of the video is, "You sent me this viral Facebook post about what cops did," and let me just pull it up here. "What this cop did to this elderly veteran, so I showed up." Meaning, John Bryan, the civil rights lawyer, who lives in West Virginia, was shown this viral Facebook post about what the cops did to this elderly veteran. So he decided he was going to go over there and check it out. Now, let me just, because he's sponsored here, and there's a video that I'm going to have to fast forward on this video. You all getting these paleo meat stick videos? 1 second.
Treated him, and they were really nice. Our city people were, it took forever for them to get here. Once the ambulance arrived, it was like a switch. They literally goes, "Mrs. Allen, can I help you?"
Oh, well, wait a minute. I ended up, wait 1 second. I'm all the way in the middle. Here, wait.
Welcome to the Klondike Adventures game. I promise it's the best one you've ever seen.
Many of you from across the country sent me this viral Facebook post showing this woman's husband after he was brutalized by police officers in West Virginia.
Look at what they did.
After she reached out to me yesterday, I drove 3.5 hours and hit the ground running there in St. Mary's, West Virginia. I talked to witnesses. I talked to the woman who put up the Facebook post, who is the wife of the victim. I examined the scene of the incident, and I'm not even joking when I say that I am shocked at what I found. This is one of the most egregious situations I've encountered in 20 years of corruption in West Virginia. We've been spied on, witnesses threatened, even other cops are worried about us. Come along with me for the ride, and I guarantee
they were spied
you will be talking
on.
about
Wait
this
till you see
with
who's
your
spying
friends
on
and your
them.
family for years to come.
When they pulled him up off the concrete, he was bleeding so bad. I mean, it was, the pictures. It made the
Look at what they did to this
viral.
man.
Immediately, my heart just sank. I mean, I was like, this guy's older, and 3 full-grown officers on him like that.
And look at
To
that
me,
cute
it was
little
just
doggy.
unnecessary.
That cute
The
little
police
dog.
report said they assisted him.
to the ground?
No, they didn't assist him to the ground. No, they took him to the ground hard, and then they kept him on the ground. And then I watched them load him up in a cruiser too, and they threw him in there pretty hard as well.
The town of St. Mary's, West Virginia is very small, a population of only 1,847 according to the 2020 census. The city was established in 1849 by Alexander Creel, who reportedly named it after he experienced a vision of the Virgin Mary while traveling by boat on the Ohio River, where the town is located. One of St. Mary's most distinctive features is its freight train tracks that run straight down the middle of their main street. St. Mary's is the county seat of the small county of Pleasants County, West Virginia, and it's really within the metropolitan area of Parkersburg, West Virginia, or Marietta, Ohio, just across the river. This is Cherry Street in St. Mary's, where on March 12th, just a few days ago, 3 police officers showed up to confront 69-year-old disabled military veteran Barry Allen about his white truck parked along the roadway, which they claim had not been moved in 3 days, which he denies. I visited the scene for myself yesterday and interviewed witnesses so that I could determine exactly what did happen and did not happen on March 12th. This is my conversation with Barry's wife, Sally Allen, who is absolutely as sweet as can be.
Okay, I'm not going to play all of that. What I'm going to do is fast forward to around just a little over 6 minutes, because as the civil rights lawyer is having a conversation with Mary, who is showing him what happens. Let me just fast forward here.
I want to buy your house.
These advertisements is just too much, guys.
I can pay you cash for your house.
1 second.
No matter what condition it's in.
He's talking about the chief of police being upset about the junk in the yard. I mentioned that St. Mary's has a population that's very low, only like 1,800. It's basically one of these rural towns in West Virginia that does not need a police department, yet they have one. From my understanding, they only have 3 police officers, one of whom is the chief of police. You'll hear him mentioned as being personally involved. I believe this is what he looks like. The other police officer who was involved, who ended up writing the police report, his name is Anthony Wins.
He turned back around and started heading toward Barry, and Barry's standing over with his back to me, and I come running down the stairs, and by the time I got down the stairs, Barry's leg, he'd been here, somewhere in this area.
All right, now 1 second.
And he was laying, I would say about right here, face first, arms like this, bleeding. I mean, just bleeding. Everybody's yelling. The officers are yelling.
Now, was this truck?
There's a white car.
Was that trailer here?
Yes.
So it looked just like this.
Pretty much, but it might have been a little bit more spread apart.
The last time you looked out the window, where was Barry? Which direction was he facing? So Barry's standing right here, facing this way. What was he doing when you last saw him? He was just standing there.
He was laying, yeah.
Okay. While she's explaining what's going on, you got a creeper stalker right here. Mary turns and said that is the sheriff's wife. And this biatch keeps surveilling and harassing them the entire time he's there. But wait till you listen what John Bryan says after this little brief encounter here. She's watching us.
What she just said there is that the white SUV that passed by in the background was the wife of a deputy who was basically spying on us.
Oh, deputy.
And that is something that was bizarre that happened the entire time I was there. Even though I said nothing publicly about the fact that I was going there, somehow they knew. And it was obvious that we were being watched by multiple individuals the entire time we were there. It was bizarre. It was like this small town had eyes. And that led to something actually very bizarre happening, which I'll get to later. When you saw...
Okay, so I'm going to end here on that. Because basically what he said is that the entire time he was there, it's like the town had eyes. They were being watched. They were being surveilled. And forgive me, the white car is the wife of a deputy, not the sheriff. And this woman, Mary, obviously knew who that vehicle was because that woman kept stalking her, surveilling her in this small town. And that's exactly what happens to me here. So I am looking so forward to John Bryan defending this case. I can't wait to hear what comes out in this case. And he drove 3.5 hours to see what happened with this couple and why they're being harassed. And he even got the creepy feeling that it's like the town has eyes, that they're being watched like the whole time that he was there. So I thought you would find this interesting. You can go to the Civil Rights Lawyer. It's a 32-minute video. I'm not going to play it. I mean, it's only in case you're interested in this entire story, which is one of, obviously, police brutality, excessive force, harassment, stalking, all of those things. They couldn't have gotten the best lawyer in the whole town. But I want to tell you that, let's see, I've got some comments here that I wanted to read to you also. So I want to read some comments that I received on the last video that I posted, the testimony of the
wondered what your home
ex-army wife
looks like from space?
These advertisements are just overwhelming. It's getting to be ridiculous now. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these comments. It sounds like rural road theater. They continually look to get us involved in chaos. Now, KG Dub responds in this manner. A very long response. So, I'm so sorry they did this to you. I have animals my entire life. Horses, cows, chickens, goats, dogs, cats. I work with the Humane Society in multiple states and counties and fostered abused animals. I work the rodeo circuit and I work with livestock breeders and their bulls, steers, broncs. I ran a trail ride operation in Colorado and I did all the horse training and vet care. They were too cheap to hire a vet, so I studied and I learned it all so I could, over the years, work for large animal vet care. I worked for several cattle ranches and I did day-long cattle drives and brandings and had cattle dog that was not just an animal. He was one of the special ones. Animals flock to me. Even the wild ones know my place is safe and would come to me for help, and in return, they'd hang out at my place and bring so much joy until these pieces of shit people turning these programs of torture and torment started hunting all the animals that were always around me, whether they were pets or wild. I had bears, wolf, rabbits, different deer species, a rat that would stand up and scratch at my sliding glass door for treats. I had multiple generational raccoons I took care of in several different places I lived. I did equine therapy with vets and young people with trauma from horrific abuse, and I watched them bond with the horses and got to witness them rescue each other. This is not about me. My point is, these psychos know that empathy and good, kind people go hand in hand with those who are suffering, human or not. They can't have that going on, so they target all the things that we help. At my current place, all the wild animals are gone. They got blasted with DEW, directed energy weapons, hit with a weapon that impacts and causes them to get launched into the side of the house or land in a pile of rocks and unalive or maim them so badly they stop coming around. It's part of the mind games and torture. My last pet, my ride or die, my angel in fur coat Maine Coon cat, who saved my life, made my life so full of joy, was so targeted to the point when she was in so much pain, she just screamed out in agony. I knew exactly how she felt because they do it to me. I spent thousands of dollars that I did not have to try to manage her be comfortable, but nothing helped, and one day she told me it was time for her to go. She didn't want to leave me because she knew what was happening to me too. So just like you, for the first time in my life, I have 0 animals. I don't want to subject one to torture. I may get a pack of hybrid wolf huskies or some other type of pack predatory dogs to help me stay safe and fight these psychos who run around cloaked and sit in my yard camouflaged so well. You could walk right past them and you wouldn't know it. I have found out that dogs can smell and see cloaked people. I have watched them do it several times, but I can't justify yet subjecting anything to this horrific torture just to stay alive a little longer. I don't know if it's worth the risk or not, but I do know not having animals is truly heartbreaking, and that's why they maim, unalive, poison, and asset drain us by doing this to anything we love. It's not so quiet and empty without that special bond. Coming from someone who's going through the same thing as you are with not having any more animals, my heart breaks for you. I'm so sorry they have taken that joy and comfort away. I can say that it's made me stronger, wiser, and more privy to their games, and I trust my discernment more, thanks to my faith. My point is, this long story, is that whatever choice you make is out of love, and I comment, and I'm in awe of the selflessness you show by not subjecting other innocent souls to this horrendous program. But no, you can shed change in your mind. I know I might soon too, but I'm going a long period of time without any pets. It's really a big growth opportunity for my own experience. It angers me to the core, with righteous anger, that they would hurt, harm, and unalive another one of God's creations that he made for us to rule over, meaning take care of and be at the top of the animal kingdom hierarchy, even the scary wild ones. They will answer to every single thought, act, plan, execution of those evil plans, and every single hit on our bodies, property, and animals. I just want you to know, and hopefully this comment will guide you and be the confirmation you need for whatever choice you decide to make once your last sweet pets have left this life. And then Deborah writes, yet more ganging up on single older women living by themselves, except for the company of animals. Your experience with that scummy dog owner, Lorraine, would not have happened in Jersey. You're absolutely right. It would have never happened in New Jersey. Questions would have been asked, and you would never have received a visit from a sheriff. But out in the hinterlands, your accusers will be believed, hands down, every time, while you're standing there in shock. The Good Old Boy Network continues to run the show in your present location, and mine as well. Yep. So, those are the subscriber comments on the video, sharing testimony, female ex-army wife on targeted pets. That's my commentary example on the abused dog. Yes, that piece of crap, Caleb Barrett, had the audacity to trespass my property, call a state trooper. After I told him I did not have his dog anymore, his dog had spent 3 days on my property being fed and cared for, and no one showed up after I posted it online on Facebook. He shows up on day 4, and I had already given the dog away. It's not my problem, not my dog. And anybody that has pets doesn't take 4 days to start looking for it. And then not even have a photo, your own photo of your dog. How do I even know that that dog was his? All I know is that dog was starved and on a tether that was digging into his neck, causing abrasions. And he had the audacity to call the state police, who both had the audacity to trespass my property on my birthday. Another skit show. Another skit show in hillbilly Kentucky. That's what it is here. Bunch of pieces of garbage. And you're right, it would have never happened in New Jersey. Because even though the gang stalking, the police harassment happens in New Jersey, the cops know what they can and can't get away with. And in New Jersey, animals have protection. There are vets everywhere. So if there are 2 or 3 vets that won't take my animals, which none of them ever did, there are dozens of other vets. Dozens of vets everywhere. They're everywhere. Even if you have to drive 20 minutes, you'll find another dozen vets. So no, that would never happen. You're absolutely right. It would never happen in New Jersey. But just for the record, yes, I have filed the complaint against the Biachi veterinarian, whose name we do have now. The full name of the doctor, in case anybody didn't know, is Taylor Rebecca Caleb's, which must be her maiden name, Wilson. Taylor Rebecca Caleb's Wilson, Anvil Veterinary Clinic. We have her license. I just got her license number 2 for anybody that also wants to file a complaint against this Biachi. Here, let me see. I've got her license number now. 1 second. Let's see. I've got so many emails here. 1 second, guys. That he set up a virtual meeting with me. Lie, lie, lie. I mean, they're just lying all over the place. It baffles the mind. Baffles the mind that this piece of crap. Let me just get it here. 1 second. Yes, Jessica's doctor said that he had a virtual meeting set up with me. What a liar. So I left a not so nice voice message for Dr. Sanjay K. Singh to tell him that I had left a couple of messages for him that were not returned, and that I heard today that he set up a virtual meeting with me. I said, that is not true. I've never spoken to you. I have no virtual meeting set up with you. I have no email from you. I have no contact with you. Why are you lying to Jessica? And that we are creating a petition to have her released, and that she's being illegally detained, and that he has fraudulently diagnosed her with a fraudulent diagnosis that she does not have. So yes, Sanjay K. Singh is a liar telling Jessica that he has a virtual meeting set up with me. No, you do not have a virtual meeting set up with me. And no, you're lying to Jessica. What a piece of crap. This guy needs to be reported. Anybody wants to report this piece of crap to the psychiatric board, go right, or the medical board. Well, he's not a licensed psychiatrist, by the way. He has an MD. He's certified by some certifying board, but he is not a licensed psychiatrist. He's an MD that was trained in India, not in the United States, by the way. So anybody that wants to look up Sanjay K. Singh, S-I-N-G-H, he's a liar. I have no virtual meeting set up with him. He refuses my phone calls, goes to voicemail. I even reported him to the legal team at the hospital. Nothing's been done. I'm going to sign off for now. I've got stuff to do today. I hope everybody's doing well. Hit the thumbs up.